The morning sun filtered through the tall windows of Windsor Castle as Catherine, Princess of Wales, stood before her wardrobe with trembling hands. It had been exactly 2 weeks since Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, and today marked the first official royal engagement for her and Prince William since that solemn September day. The weight of their new responsibilities felt heavier than the black mourning clothes she had worn for what seemed like an eternity. William entered their private chambers, adjusting his navy suit jacket with practiced precision. His face carried the same exhaustion that had become familiar to both of them since his grandmother's passing. The transition from Duke and Duchess of Cambridge to Prince and Princess of Wales had happened overnight, but the emotional adjustment was taking much longer. "The car will be here in 20 minutes, William said softly, his voice carrying a slight hoarseness that had developed during the intense weeks of mourning protocol and royal obligations. "Are you ready for this?" Catherine turned from her reflection in the antique mirror, her emerald dress carefully chosen to represent hope and renewal. "I don't think anyone can truly be ready for their first engagement as Princess of Wales," she admitted, smoothing down the fabric. "But we must try." The couple's destination was a children's hospital in London, a cause close to both their hearts and one that Queen Elizabeth had supported for decades. It was fitting that their first official duty would honor her memory, while focusing on the future she had always championed. The hospital staff had been preparing for weeks, knowing that this visit would be watched closely by the media and the public who were still processing their own grief. As they descended the grand staircase of their temporary residence, William reached for Catherine's hand. The gesture was both comforting and necessary, as they both felt the enormous responsibility that now rested on their shoulders. Every step they took, every word they spoke, would be scrutinized and measured against the legacy of the woman who had dedicated her life to service. Their protection officers, led by the experienced Detective Inspector Sarah Mitchell, briefed them one final time on the day's schedule. The visit would include meetings with young patients, their families, and the medical staff who had continued their vital work even during the national mourning period. There would be media present, but the couple had requested a more subdued approach than their previous engagements. The Black Range Rover waited in the courtyard, its windows tinted to provide privacy during the journey through London. As they settled into the leather seats, Catherine noticed how different everything felt. The same vehicle, the same route they had taken many times before, but now they carried titles that connected them directly to 1,000 years of royal history. During the drive, William reviewed his notes about the hospital's recent achievements and the specific children they would meet. Each case had been carefully selected to represent different aspects of the hospital's work, from emergency care to long-term treatment programs. Among them was 8-year-old Emma Thompson, who had been born with a rare heart condition and had undergone multiple surgeries since infancy. Catherine studied photographs of the children, memorizing names and details that would help her connect with each family personally. This attention to individual stories had always been her strength in royal engagements, but today it felt more crucial than ever. These families had also lived through the national period of mourning, and many had shared memories of meeting Queen Elizabeth during her numerous hospital visits over the decades. As they approached central London, the familiar sight of crowds gathering along their route became visible. People held flowers, photographs of the Queen, and signs welcoming the new Prince and Princess of Wales. Some waved enthusiastically, while others simply stood in respectful silence, understanding the significance of this moment in royal history. The hospital's chief executive, Dr. Margaret Crawford, had worked with the royal household for months to ensure every detail was perfect. She understood that this visit needed to strike the right balance between honoring the Queen's memory and establishing the couple's own approach to royal duties. The children's ward had been carefully prepared, with artwork and flowers creating a warm, welcoming environment. Detective Inspector Mitchell's voice crackled through the intercom as they turned the final corner toward the hospital. "Arriving in 2 minutes, Your Royal Highnesses. The crowds are substantial but well-managed, and the hospital staff are ready to receive you." William squeezed Catherine's hand as the hospital came into view. The modern building stood against the London skyline, its glass facade reflecting the autumn sunlight. Outside, a small group of media representatives waited behind barriers, their cameras ready to capture this historic first engagement. Together, William whispered, echoing the promise they had made to each other on their wedding day more than a decade earlier. But now that simple word carried the weight of an entire nation's expectations and the memory of a beloved queen who had shown them what true service meant. As the vehicle came to a stop, they could see Dr. Crawford and her senior team waiting at the hospital entrance, along with local officials and representatives from the various charities that supported the hospital's work. This was the moment they had both prepared for and dreaded, the beginning of their new chapter in royal service during one of the most challenging periods in recent royal history. The hospital doors opened, and Dr. Margaret Crawford stepped forward with a warm but respectful smile. She had met the royal couple several times during their previous visits as Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, but today felt entirely different. The formal introduction protocol now required her to address them by their new titles, a reminder of how much had changed in such a short time. Your Royal Highnesses, welcome to St. Mary's Children's Hospital, Dr. Crawford said with a slight bow. We are deeply honored by your visit during this significant time. William responded with the same graciousness that had characterized his grandmother's approach to such moments. Thank you, Dr. Crawford. The Queen always spoke highly of the work being done here, and we are honored to continue supporting this vital institution. As they walked through the hospital's main corridor, the couple was struck by the colorful artwork that lined the walls. Children's paintings, many depicting rainbows and flowers, created a stark contrast to the formal, somber atmosphere they had experienced during the recent weeks of royal mourning. Nurses and medical staff paused in their work to offer respectful nods, their faces showing a mixture of professional composure and genuine warmth. Their first stop was the cardiac unit, where they would meet Emma Thompson and her family. The 8-year-old had been a patient at the hospital since birth, and her mother, Sarah Thompson, had specifically requested to meet the new Princess of Wales after following Catherine's advocacy work for children's health issues. As they approached Emma's room, they could hear the soft sound of children's laughter echoing down the hallway. Dr. James Peterson, the hospital's chief pediatric cardiologist, joined them to provide context about Emma's remarkable journey and the innovative treatments that had saved her life multiple times. Emma has undergone 7 major surgeries, Dr. Peterson explained in hushed tones. Her resilience is extraordinary, and she's become something of an inspiration to our staff. She's particularly excited to meet you both today. When they entered the bright, cheerfully decorated room, Emma was sitting up in her hospital bed, wearing a pink dress that her mother had saved specially for this occasion. Despite the medical equipment surrounding her, her smile was radiant, and her eyes sparkled with the kind of pure joy that only children seem to possess. Your Royal Highnesses, Sarah Thompson said, standing nervously beside her daughter's bed. This is Emma. She's been counting down the days since we heard you were coming. Catherine immediately knelt beside Emma's bed, bringing herself to the child's eye level. Hello, Emma. I've heard so many wonderful things about you. How are you feeling today? Emma's response was immediate and enthusiastic. I'm much better now that you're here. Mummy showed me pictures of your dress at the Queen's funeral. It was very beautiful, but you look much prettier when you smile. The innocent honesty of the comment broke through some of the formal tension that had characterized their mourning. William couldn't help but smile genuinely for the first time in weeks, while Catherine felt tears prick her eyes at the child's natural warmth. Emma has something very special to show you, Sarah Thompson said, reaching for a handmade book on the bedside table. She's been working on this for weeks. Emma proudly held up a small, colorfully illustrated book titled My Heart's Journey. Each page contained drawings and short sentences describing her various surgeries and treatments, but every illustration included smiling faces and bright colors. The final page showed a drawing of Emma herself, standing outside the hospital with her arms raised in celebration. This is incredible, Emma, William said, carefully examining each page. You've captured something very important here. You've shown that even during difficult times, there can be hope and happiness. The conversation continued for nearly 30 minutes, far longer than the scheduled 15-minute visit. Emma shared stories about her favorite nurses, her dreams of becoming a doctor herself one day, and her excitement about starting school again when her current treatment cycle was complete. Her parents watched with obvious pride as their daughter confidently conversed with the future King and Queen of England. Dr. Peterson later explained that Emma's condition had required experimental treatments that were only available because of research funding that had come, in part, from royal patronage over the years. The connection between the monarchy's support and real-world medical breakthroughs became tangible in that small hospital room. As they prepared to leave Emma's room, the little girl made an unexpected request. "Could you please tell King Charles that I'm praying for him every night?" Mummy explained that he's sad about losing his mummy, just like I would be sad if I lost mine. The simple, heartfelt message from an 8-year-old girl to the newly crowned king demonstrated the profound connection between the royal family and the people they served. Catherine promised to deliver Emma's message personally, while William made a note to ensure that the hospital received additional support for their pediatric cardiac program. Their next stop was the hospital's emergency department, where they would meet with the medical teams who had worked tirelessly throughout the mourning period and the Queen's funeral. These healthcare workers had continued saving lives even while the nation paused to honor their beloved monarch, embodying the kind of quiet, steady service that Queen Elizabeth had exemplified throughout her reign. As they walked toward the emergency wing, both William and Catherine reflected on how this first engagement was already proving more meaningful than they had anticipated. The combination of honoring the past while focusing on the future felt exactly right for this moment in their lives and in the nation's history. The emergency department at St. Mary's Children's Hospital operated with the controlled chaos that characterized all major medical facilities. But today, there was an underlying current of anticipation. Senior nurse Patricia Williams had worked in this department for 23 years and had met Queen Elizabeth twice during royal visits. She now stood with her team, waiting to meet the new Prince and Princess of Wales while mentally preparing to explain the unique challenges they faced caring for critically ill children. Dr. Crawford led William and Catherine through automatic doors into the heart of the emergency unit. The sophisticated medical equipment hummed quietly, while monitors displayed vital signs of young patients receiving treatment. The sterile environment was softened by colorful murals and toy collections strategically placed to help distracted, frightened children during medical procedures. This department sees approximately 1,500 children each month, Dr. Crawford explained as they walked. During the national mourning period, our staff worked additional shifts to ensure continuity of care. Many of our team members also participated in community events honoring the Queen while maintaining their professional responsibilities here. Patricia Williams stepped forward to greet them, her uniform crisp and her demeanor professional yet warm. "Your Royal Highnesses, I had the privilege of meeting Queen Elizabeth during her visits in 2018 and 2019. She always took time to understand our challenges and celebrate our successes." William nodded thoughtfully. She often spoke about her hospital visits as among the most meaningful aspects of her royal duties. She believed that witnessing the dedication of healthcare workers reminded her why service to others was so important. As they toured the department, they observed the seamless coordination between doctors, nurses, and support staff. In one bay, a team was treating a 5-year-old who had suffered a severe allergic reaction, while in another, specialists worked with a teenager who had been injured in a cycling accident. The professionalism and compassion displayed by every staff member was remarkable. Catherine spent considerable time speaking with Dr. Amira Hassan, an emergency pediatrician who had immigrated from Egypt 5 years earlier. Dr. Hassan described the unique aspects of treating children in emergency situations, emphasizing the importance of communicating with both young patients and their terrified parents simultaneously. "Children often understand more than adults realize," Dr. Hassan explained. We've learned that honest, age-appropriate explanations actually help them cope better with medical procedures. It requires a different kind of skill than treating adult patients. Their conversation was interrupted by a young nurse named Michael Chun, who had specifically requested to meet the royal couple. Michael had worked throughout the weekend of the Queen's funeral, caring for critically ill patients whose conditions couldn't wait for normal scheduling to resume. "I wanted to thank you for acknowledging our work during such a significant time," Michael said, his voice carrying a slight nervousness. "Many of us felt conflicted about missing the national events, but we knew the Queen would have wanted us to prioritize patient care above ceremony." William's response reflected the leadership qualities he had been developing for years. The Queen understood better than anyone that true service often happens quietly, without recognition or fanfare. Your dedication during that weekend exemplified exactly the kind of commitment she valued most highly. The tour continued into the department's family consultation room, where difficult conversations took place daily. Patricia Williams explained how they supported families during medical crises, often providing emotional counseling alongside medical treatment. The room was designed to feel more like a comfortable living room than a clinical space, with soft lighting and comfortable seating arrangements. "Sometimes we're delivering the best possible news," Patricia said, "but other times families receive information that changes their lives forever. Our staff undergoes continuous training to handle these situations with appropriate sensitivity and professional support." Catherine asked detailed questions about the psychological support available for both families and staff members. Her background in psychology and her advocacy work for mental health issues informed her understanding of the complex emotional challenges facing everyone in such high-pressure environments. During their discussion, they were introduced to Dr. Robert Sterling, the hospital's chief psychiatrist, who specialized in helping children and families cope with serious medical diagnoses. Dr. Sterling had developed innovative therapeutic programs that combined traditional counseling with creative arts therapies. "We've discovered that children often express their fears and hopes through drawing, music, and storytelling more effectively than through conventional talking therapies," Dr. Sterling explained. "These creative approaches help us understand their emotional needs while providing healthy outlets for processing difficult experiences." William showed particular interest in Dr. Sterling's work with siblings of seriously ill children, an often overlooked group who experience their own trauma and confusion during family medical crises. The hospital had developed support groups and activities specifically designed to help these children understand their siblings' conditions while maintaining their own emotional well-being. As their time in the emergency department concluded, the royal couple was presented with a photo album documenting the department's achievements over the previous year. The images showed staff members celebrating successful treatments, children returning for follow-up visits after complete recoveries, and families expressing gratitude for the care they had received. Patricia Williams made a final comment that particularly resonated with both William and Catherine. "The Queen once told us that hospitals like this represent the best of human nature because strangers dedicate their lives to helping other people's children." She said it proved that love and service could extend far beyond family boundaries. The truth of that observation was evident in every interaction they had witnessed during their tour. The dedication displayed by every staff member, from senior consultants to cleaning personnel, demonstrated a level of commitment that transcended professional obligations and reflected genuine care for vulnerable children and their families. As they prepared to move to their next location within the hospital, both William and Catherine felt increasingly confident about their ability to continue the Queen's legacy of meaningful royal service. The combination of honoring the past while embracing new approaches to their royal duties was beginning to feel natural rather than overwhelming. The hospital's research wing represented the cutting edge of pediatric medicine, where breakthrough treatments were developed and tested. Dr. Elizabeth Kumar, the head of research, had spent months preparing for this visit, knowing that royal support could significantly impact funding and public awareness for their groundbreaking work. She greeted William and Catherine with visible excitement, eager to share the innovations that were changing children's lives worldwide. Your Royal Highnesses, this facility houses some of the most advanced pediatric research in Europe, Dr. Kumar explained as she led them through laboratories filled with sophisticated equipment. Many of our projects have received support through royal patronage over the years, and we're honored to show you the real-world results of that investment. Their first stop was a laboratory where researchers were developing new treatments for childhood cancers. Dr. Marcus Thompson, a brilliant young oncologist, demonstrated how advanced genetic testing was allowing doctors to create personalized treatment plans for each child patient. The technology was revolutionary, but Dr. Thompson explained it in terms that emphasized the human impact rather than the technical complexity. Each child's cancer has unique characteristics, Dr. Thompson said, showing them computer models of cellular structures. Instead of using the same treatment for every patient, we can now analyze the specific genetic markers and design therapies that target those particular cancer cells while minimizing damage to healthy tissues. Catherine asked thoughtful questions about success rates and long-term outcomes, her engagement reflecting her genuine interest in understanding how research translated into hope for families. Dr. Thompson shared statistics showing dramatically improved survival rates and reduced side effects compared to traditional chemotherapy approaches. William was particularly fascinated by the international collaboration aspects of the research. Scientists from 12 different countries shared data and resources through secure networks, accelerating discoveries that might otherwise take decades to achieve. The global nature of the work reminded him of his grandmother's emphasis on the Commonwealth and international cooperation. Their next destination was the hospital's innovation lab, where medical devices specifically designed for children were being developed and tested. Many commercial medical devices were simply smaller versions of adult equipment, but this facility focused on creating tools that addressed the unique physiological and psychological needs of young patients. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a biomedical engineer, showed them a new type of heart monitor designed to look like a colorful wristwatch rather than intimidating medical equipment. Children could choose from various designs, including cartoon characters and nature themes, making the monitoring process feel less frightening. We discovered that children's anxiety levels dropped significantly when medical devices didn't look clinical or scary, Dr. Mitchell explained. This particular monitor provides the same sophisticated data as traditional equipment, but children actually look forward to wearing it. The innovation extended beyond individual devices to entire treatment environments. They toured a prototype patient room that used interactive wall projections to create immersive environments. Children could choose to have their room transformed into an underwater scene, a forest setting, or even a space station, providing distraction and comfort during long treatment periods. Catherine spent considerable time discussing the psychological benefits of these innovations with Dr. Rebecca Foster, a child psychologist who worked closely with the engineering team. Dr. Foster explained how the physical environment could significantly impact healing and recovery times, making these apparently simple improvements actually crucial medical interventions. When children feel more comfortable and less frightened, their bodies can focus energy on healing rather than managing stress responses, Dr. Foster said. We've documented measurable improvements in recovery times and treatment compliance when children have positive associations with their medical care environment. The tour continued to the hospital's data analysis center, where researchers tracked long-term outcomes for thousands of former patients. The comprehensive database allowed doctors to understand which treatments provided the best results years after initial care, informing current treatment decisions and future research priorities. Dr. Kumar proudly showed them success stories that demonstrated the impact of their work. Former patients had grown up to become doctors, teachers, athletes, and parents, their lives made possible by innovations developed within these walls. Photo displays showed children who had received experimental treatments returning years later as healthy adults, often bringing their own children for routine care. One particularly moving display featured letters from families around the world who had benefited from treatments developed at St. Mary's. The correspondence came in dozens of languages, but the gratitude was universal. Parents described watching their children graduate from school, participate in sports, and pursue dreams that had seemed impossible during their medical crises. William and Catherine were introduced to Dr. James Crawford, Dr. Margaret Crawford's son, who had been inspired to pursue pediatric medicine after spending his childhood watching his mother's dedication to improving children's health. His presence represented the intergenerational impact of the hospital's work and the way dedication to service could inspire entire families. My earliest memories involve coming to this hospital with my mother during weekend rounds, Dr. James Crawford shared. Seeing how medical care could transform children's lives made my career choice obvious. Now I'm developing treatments that I hope will help the next generation of patients. As their research wing tour concluded, Dr. Kumar presented them with a comprehensive report detailing ongoing projects and future goals. The document represented millions of pounds in research investment and thousands of hours of dedicated work by some of the world's most talented medical professionals. The Queen understood that royal patronage provided more than financial support, Dr. Kumar said. Her interest brought media attention that helped families understand new treatment options and encouraged other researchers to collaborate with our programs. William responded by announcing that they would be establishing annual visits to review research progress and maintain the royal family's commitment to advancing pediatric medicine. The decision was spontaneous, but felt entirely appropriate given what they had witnessed during their tour. Catherine added that she would be working with the hospital to develop educational programs, helping parents understand and advocate for their children's medical needs. Her comments reflected her growing confidence in using her platform to address practical challenges facing families during medical crises. The final stop in their hospital visit would be the hospital's memorial garden, where families and staff honored children who had lost their battles with illness. This sacred space would test their emotional resilience while providing an opportunity to acknowledge the limitations of even the most advanced medical care. The memorial garden occupied a quiet corner of the hospital grounds, designed as a peaceful sanctuary where families could remember children who had passed away despite the best efforts of medical teams. As William and Catherine approached the garden gates, the atmosphere shifted noticeably. Dr. Crawford's voice became softer, and their security team maintained a more respectful distance, understanding the sacred nature of this space. The garden itself was beautifully maintained, with flowering plants chosen to bloom throughout the year, ensuring that color and life were always present. Winding paths led between memorial plaques and small sculptures, each representing a child whose family had found comfort in this tranquil setting. A central fountain provided gentle water, sounds that masked the noise from the busy hospital and surrounding London streets. This garden was established 15 years ago after families requested a permanent place to honor their children's memories, Dr. Crawford explained quietly. It serves multiple purposes, providing space for private reflection, hosting annual memorial services, and offering comfort to families who are currently facing similar struggles. William and Catherine walked slowly along the main path, reading names and brief inscriptions on memorial plaques. Each one represented a family's devastating loss, but also celebrated a child's life and the love they had brought to their families and caregivers. Some plaques included photographs showing smiling children engaged in favorite activities, while others featured symbols representing hobbies or interests that had brought joy during difficult times. Catherine paused before a memorial for 7-year-old Thomas Anderson, who had fought leukemia for 3 years before passing away the previous spring. The plaque included a small space where fresh flowers were regularly placed and a brief inscription reading, "Thomas loved dinosaurs, chocolate ice cream, and making people laugh." The simple words captured the essence of a child's life in a way that felt both heartbreaking and celebratory. The families often tell us that creating these memorials helps them focus on celebrating their children's lives rather than dwelling solely on their illness, said Father Michael O'Brien, the hospital chaplain who had joined them for this portion of the visit. It becomes a way of ensuring their children's spirits continue to bring comfort and inspiration to others. Father O'Brien had worked at the hospital for 12 years and had supported hundreds of families through their most difficult moments. His presence provided spiritual guidance for families of all faiths, and his calm demeanor had become a source of stability during crises. The Queen had met him during her previous visits and had specifically requested updates on his work during royal household communications. As they continued through the garden, they encountered Maria Santos, a mother who was tending to her daughter's memorial site. 8-year-old Sofia Santos had passed away from a rare neurological condition 6 months earlier, and Maria visited the garden every week to maintain the small flower bed that surrounded Sofia's plaque. "Your Royal Highnesses," Maria said, rising from where she had been kneeling beside the flowers. "I'm honored to meet you here. Sophia would have been so excited to know you visited her special place." The impromptu meeting provided William and Catherine with an opportunity to hear firsthand how the hospital had supported Maria's family during Sophia's 2-year treatment period. Maria spoke eloquently about the dedication of medical staff, the comfort provided by the hospital support services, and the way the memorial garden had helped her process her grief while maintaining connection to her daughter's memory. "Sophia spent so much time in this hospital that it became like a second home," Maria explained. "The doctors and nurses became family members, and they continue to check on me regularly. This garden helps me feel like Sophia's spirit is still part of this place where she was so loved." Catherine asked Maria about the support available for grieving parents, learning about support groups, counseling services, and practical assistance with funeral arrangements. Maria's responses revealed the comprehensive care that extended far beyond medical treatment, encompassing emotional and spiritual support for entire families. William inquired about memorial services and annual remembrance events held in the garden. Father O'Brien described how families gathered each December to light candles and share memories of their children, creating a community of support among parents who understood each other's experiences in ways that others could not. The Queen attended one of these services several years ago, Father O'Brien recalled. Her presence meant everything to the families, and she stayed much longer than scheduled because she wanted to hear individual stories about each child being remembered. As they prepared to conclude their garden visit, Maria Santos made an unexpected request. She asked if they would consider attending the upcoming December memorial service, explaining that royal presence would help other families feel that their children's lives had mattered to the broader community. Catherine immediately agreed, explaining that honoring children's memories was an essential aspect of supporting families and acknowledging the preciousness of every life. William added that they would work with the hospital to establish an annual royal presence at the memorial service, ensuring that grieving families received consistent recognition and support. Their final moments in the garden were spent standing together before a central memorial stone inscribed with words chosen by families, in memory of all the children whose courage inspired us, whose love changed us, and whose spirits continue to guide us toward hope. The inscription captured the profound impact that even brief lives could have on everyone who encountered these remarkable children. As they walked back toward the hospital building, both William and Catherine reflected on the emotional intensity of their first official engagement. They had experienced the full spectrum of royal duties, celebrating medical breakthroughs, acknowledging dedicated service, supporting families in crisis, and honoring those who had been lost. Dr. Crawford accompanied them to the hospital's main entrance, where media representatives and members of the public were waiting to document their departure. The crowd had grown significantly during their visit, with many people holding flowers and signs expressing support for their new roles as Prince and Princess of Wales. "This visit has exceeded all our expectations," Dr. Crawford said as they reached the entrance. "Your genuine interest in our work and Your connection with our families has provided exactly the kind of encouragement our staff needed during this transitional period. William and Catherine spent additional time greeting hospital workers who had gathered in the lobby, taking photographs and signing cards that would be treasured by families and staff members. Their natural warmth and authentic interest in individual stories demonstrated their growing confidence in their expanded royal responsibilities. As they finally departed St. Mary's Children's Hospital, both realized that their first official engagement as Prince and Princess of Wales had established a template for their future approach to royal service. By combining respect for tradition with genuine personal connection, they had honored Queen Elizabeth's legacy while beginning to establish their own distinctive style of royal engagement. The drive back to their residence provided time for quiet reflection on a day that had transformed their understanding of their new roles and renewed their commitment to meaningful service that would make a real difference in people's lives.